FM. The table is full. We have Barrister ᴘᴜᴜ himself in the studio. So I call him the birthday boy.
The birthday man.
On the birthday, it's always a boy. Men turn to boys on their birthdays. Nice to have you in the studio, Barrister ᴘᴜᴜ, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
We have a special number for you. We're going to play that before we go into the issues we have for today. We also have Jᴏɪᴜ in the studio. He's the assistant birthday boy. And we also have Nudin Adedo in the studio, so we have to make it a complete.
He's the patron of the
he's the assistant birthday boy. Sandra has also been coordinating, putting things together at the back end. She's actually been the one, helping us to put one or two things together. But before we take you into what we have for today, let's just play this number. Let's just enjoy this number. To celebrate this wonderful day, this blessed day, the day of Barrister ᴘᴜᴜ. Happy birthday to you once again. Let's just quickly get this short break and we'll be right back.
You are so much more than I thought you'd be. That's what I'm supposed to say. I can't make you shine bright from my side. If I have to prove it all, I bless the day you were born, cause baby when you show things come out like just like today. And so I think this goes.
That was from See Me Happy Birthday, and that track is dedicated to Barrister ᴘᴜᴜ, of course, celebrating his birthday today. We wish him all the best, really, life, more money, in good health. Is what we wish you, Barrister ᴘᴜᴜ. We'll go straight to business. The first issue, I think again the three issues on the round table today, I'm hoping that we have enough time to really dissect these issues, are the three dominant issues in the political space. The first one, outrageous pay packages, disclose monthly running costs of National Assembly. SERAP tells Akpabio, Abbas, and the question we're going to be asking ourselves on the roundtable this evening is, where lies the legal and moral burden? Are there legal issues to what we're talking about as far as the jumbo pay of our lawmakers is, or is it just a moral thing? Are there moral questions toward the end? As we speak, it's almost as if we don't even know what the end. Tᴜɪᴜnᴛᴇʀ M소ɪᴟ just started all of these conversations again, where he said that, look, you guys are paying yourself, it's wrong. Ramfac is supposed to determine what you earn, but it's like you run your own budget. You pay yourself whatever you want to pay yourself, which is actually legally wrong and morally wrong. Of course, the assembly also had to reply, called Tᴜɪᴜnᴛᴇʀ all manner of names, only for a member of the Senate to come up and say that, look, every month I say a lot of 21 million. I don't know how the calculation is done, but for me, I shall know that I get 21 million naira. And before that, Senator Jᴏɪᴜ had also said that, look, while he was in the Senate, he always gets 13 million naira every month. Whereas Ramfac is saying that, look, all of the calculations that they approve for a senator to earn is just about 1 million naira. So again, we need to ask ourselves, what are the legal and moral burden of this particular matter? That now that SERAP is telling the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Reps to open their books for scrutiny. We need to know how you spend your money, what you earn, what are the running costs of the assembly. The Senate is here to respond. The House of Reps is here to respond. But we're going to be asking ourselves this same question, this very important question on the roundtable this morning. What are the legal and moral burden that surrounds this particular matter? The second one, seized presidential jets. Questions have been raised on the purchase of new president's firm. They are now speaking in unison. They are speaking in one voice against this Chinese company that, we were talking about the need to buy a new presidential jet. A particular committee in the House of Reps had raised the issue for a new presidential jet to be bought for the president, and we had thought that it was still a matter that was being discussed. But this revelation of seizure of 3 of the Nigerian, presidential jets have raised a lot of questions as to how that could have happened, where we had thought that it was still a matter that was being discussed and waiting for approval. But again, that's one part of the conversation for this evening. The second part is what really happened. How did we get here? How did we award a contract, terminate a contract to the point where assets are now being seized in different parts of the world? So what are the underlying issues on this particular issue from Ogun State? Professor Patutomi has also raised a pertinent issue that is going to gather a conversation on the roundtable this evening. He said, look, you are talking about this Chinese firm. I also suffered from something similar from the former governor of Ogun State, Iirsᴛᴛᴇʀ M소ɪᴟ, where I had invested 100 million naira in a particular deal that I lost. So I'm going to read out the tweet, the X from the X handle of Professor Patutomi, and I think this would also help guide our conversation this evening as to how we seem to be embarrassing ourselves when it comes to award, termination of contracts, not even a country that at this time is looking for foreign direct investment. So that's going to be the second issue for conversation on the roundtable this evening. And then the third one, the cost of governance conversation has come up again as the president, according to Chief of Staff, Right Honorable ᴍᴜᴜ is saying that, look, those with business, only those that have a business at the United Nations General Assembly will travel to UNGA 2024. And that is not going to be the usual jamboree. We all know that when it comes to United Nations General Assembly, everybody just goes. We have a history of sending the highest number of delegates to events. Now, I can't forget COP28, where Nigeria sent 1,411 delegates, even though it was said that it was only 422 that was funded by government, but at least it was on record that we had the highest number of delegates from Africa. And I think second to, maybe Brazil at COP28. At the ILO conference too, the Nigerian delegation was about 289 to the International Labour Organization's conference in Geneva, Switzerland. And then even at the Olympics too, without picking a medal, we had 88 athletes, and God knows how many officials went with the team. But Femi Gbajabiamila is saying that, look, for UNGA this year, it's only officials who have a business at the United Nations General Assembly that will be allowed to travel. Again, that is being tied to the spirit of the cutting down the cost of governance. But we're asking ourselves on the round table, will this particular directive be obeyed? Or is just going to be another directive, maybe just for the optics, maybe just for airlines, just as we have seen several directives of the president have still not been implemented or paid. Again, it's a full house. We have Barrister Curtis Adigba in the studio. We have Nudin in the studio, and Joseph Losho. We're streaming the show live on Facebook, YouTube, so you can drop your comments and contributions as we go along on the show this evening. We're also going to open the phone lines because the show is interactive when the time comes. Let's go straight to business. SERAP, that's the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, has urged the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas to disclose the exact amount of monthly running costs allocated to members of the National Assembly. The organization has also requested that the leaders provide an account of the spending details of any such running costs. SERAP's request follows recent controversy surrounding the jumbo pay received by each senator. Again, we all remember that the former Senator ᴍᴜᴜ had claimed that senators receive a monthly running cost of 13.5 million naira in addition to a 750,000 naira salary, a claim faulted by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. However, in the statement, SERAP explained that its request was intended to promptly end the alleged practice of the National Assembly fixing its salaries, allowances, and running costs in conformity with the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. And of course, it's talking about the fact that, look, provisions of the paragraph N, section 332D of the third schedule of the Nigerian Constitution makes it unlawful for the National Assembly to fix its salaries, allowances, and running costs. While we are still discussing that on Wednesday, just this past Wednesday, the lawmaker representing Kano South Senator Sumaila Kawu revealed that he earns over 21 million monthly as a total take-home package. Barrister Curtis Adigba, why is it so difficult for us to know what our legislators earn? at least in the Senate and the House of Reps. I'm not going to go into the states, because that would be us opening it up to an endless conversation. But why should it be so difficult for us? Is it a moral thing, a legal thing, or it's just another symptom of how badly corrupt we are as a people?
Thank you. You know, sometimes these things can really get at you, and you feel extremely so bad. Last week, we celebrated the announcement that the president had approved an increment 300%
yes,
for judicial workers. Of course, for you to increase something to another something, something must exist that is known to everybody.
That is, at least we know.
And so we calculated it.
So it was easy for us to come up with 300% because we knew what we were earning.
Yes. We have also been privy to, officially, to the increment of salaries for members of the executive by room fact, like you said. What we don't know, and I think it's only members of the National Assembly that know these things across party lines, is how much a senator in Nigeria earns or a House of Reps member earns. All we have been left with are just conjecture and speculation. Like you mentioned, except for Senator Shehu, who broke that oath and came out and told Nigerians that this was how much he was earning. And of course, you recall then that the matter came up before the senators, and he was accused of breaching their privileges and their rights, if you recall. Again, we are hearing this, but you know what is surprising is that right from 1999, former President Obasanjo kept talking about this issue. They started this whole thing then when they argued that there are three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And the argument is that the executive cannot make budget for them. But they don't understand that though there are three arms of government, but their functions are intertwined and interdependent. So you have the executive propose the budget, you have the National Assembly pass the budget.
Yes.
And you have again the head of the executive signing that budget to make it an act in the country. So these guys made this argument, and for as long as we've had this democracy from 1999 up to now, these guys have been fixing their salaries. But if you go to the constitution is very clear. It's ROMFAC that has the power
to fix those earnings.
What they have done is to say ROMFAC is an arm of the executive. They cannot dictate to us. And so what they have been doing, every time budget proposals are sent to the National Assembly, they increase the sum total of the budget.
Yes.
And they end up increasing their own. Now, let me give you an example. The last budget, 2024 budget.
Yes.
The proposal by the executive for the National Assembly was 197 billion.
The initial proposal.
And the total budget was 27.2 billion. But do you know these guys increased it to 28 point something billion? Yes. Trillion. And then increased their own allocation.
Yeah.
From 197 to 345.
And that's the highest ever.
Billion. The highest ever in the history of this country. And what is funny is that even members of the opposition
kept quiet.
That we celebrated, they got there, nobody is talking. Because you know, if you have kola nut in your mouth, it's not easy to talk.
I know people who put it on the side of their mouth.
Oh no, not now.
Not the big kola nut. Maybe all the small.
The only time we heard them was when the president of the Senate said, we've sent something small to your account.
You're talking to emails.
But when it rains heavily, it doesn't leave poto.
Everybody splashes on everybody.
So what has been going on here is systematic corruption. The butchering of our national resources by these 435 people.
Yep.
435 people. 100 in the Senate, 200 and something in the Senate. 360. And nobody has been able to call them to order because all they do is to threaten the head of the executive with impeachment. They just cower in. Look at what happened. Look at what is going on right now. All over the world, especially in the Western world, you don't even need to be their citizen to know how much members of the National Assembly are earning.
It's just available for anybody to see.
Go to the United States, the salary of the president is known. $400,000. That's what the U.S. president earns.
No other paddings.
You can check it.
No, maybe there are some other things that is not made known.
No, he lives in a free house because he's serving the people.
Yes.
But then he feeds himself.
Yes.
The only time he gets to eat free meal in the house if he's hosting a foreign head of state, and then there's going to be state banquet. He buys his own clothes.
Yes.
When he travels with his wife. For instance, when Obama and Michelle went to Saudi Arabia, Michelle was given very rare piece of diamond. But under the U.S. conventions and practice, it is not her own. The government will retrieve it from her.
Since it's on an official trip.
Yes, they will retrieve that thing from her. Anytime she needs to wear it, it will be released to her. She will not own it until when she's about leaving the government. Then they will value it, and if she wants to buy it, she will pay the value, and she's given.
Because she was an unofficial deal.
Yes.
Even a gift.
They do that because they don't want you to come under the influence.
Yes.
Of foreign decisions. Now, if you have read her book, Becoming, she also talked about the fact that she was buying her own clothes. Her husband was buying his own clothes. So, but what we have done, even for housing funds, the United States, the state of Maine, I can tell you for free, the wife is working in a restaurant, waiting on tables because her husband is not earning enough to meet the needs of the family.
The wife of a governor.
The poorest state in Nigeria, the first lady of that state cannot work.
Okay.
And yet,
there's first lady work.
Our jewelries, the trinkets, the clothing, everything,
the staff,
our vehicles, staff in the house, all paid for by the government. And that is the argument the National Assembly members are making. That you guys have fixated on us.
But look at the executive.
Look at the executive. And this is why I say, as a country, we are not serious. We are not serious. Look, every time we say we want to amend the constitution, we are looking at who had to hand over power. What happened if the president is sick, he travels, he cannot hand over power? This constitution, we didn't cross the T here.
The minor issues.
There are very significant issues of state that we can deal with in the constitution. Let me give you an example, for instance. Why is it difficult to say if you are elected a governor, this is how much you will be paid as salaries and allowances, and you're only going to live in government house. Thereafter, everything is on you. Is that not what happens? Is that not what happens in companies?
You know what you earn, and then you can take it.
You spend your money on the basis of how you want to spend it. But what we have here is that once you have been elected to public office in Nigeria, like someone said, all your sins are forgiven, and everything has fallen into your laps, and nobody is going to ask you a question. Look at how governors collect security votes, some billions every month, and yet when anything happens in their state, they cry at the federal government. So the general police has not done. What are you doing with the security vote? Yes, I understand that some of them
structurally,
buy vehicles and give police support in different in some of their states.
Yes.
But beyond that, what are they really doing? And look, this is not difficult. If the leader of the executive, who is the president today, in the interest of transparency and openness, can say we need to fix the salaries of members of the National Assembly, and we need to make it open. Anybody can just Google it and see what they are earning.
At least
the United States House of Rep member $174,000 per annum. Senator $174
per annum.
Only the ranking senators who occupy leadership position in the Senate earn a little bit more. And so, if you go to the National Assembly today, the president of the Senate, this budget for vehicles, and we are talking about a country where majority of the people today are living below poverty lines. Majority of the people, different kind of poverty. We're talking about a country where out of school children, the number of out of school children is ballooned. We're talking about a country where people when people are sick today, they either go to churches for prayer or the mosque because they cannot afford.
So quality health care, affordable quality health care is not available.
We are talking about a country whereby many of the schools, classes are conducted under trees. If you go to some states,
of course,
see the state of some of the
schools, public schools, particularly
some just environmental existence that they call schools. You will weep for this country. Sometimes you begin to ask yourself, are the people who govern us, are they indeed Nigerians or they are foreigners who came here to occupy here for a time being?
Living in their own world.
I don't see how people who have their kids and kin here can be that wicked. All in the name of you want to make money. In this rat race, if you win the race, you are still a rat. You have the best house in a junkyard, it's still in a junkyard.
Because you have to fence it up, put up manner of.
And you know the most annoying thing to me? Even those who had the opportunities to turn things around and failed woefully, they will join the chorus when they leave that office.
To now begin to demand for accountability.
I was telling someone today, and he said to me, the problem of Nigeria is too much. It's with both followers and the leaders. I say I agree. But a country that has the problem of leadership and also the problem of followership can easily solve both problems by getting just one right. You get the leadership problem solved and you solve the followership problem. Why? Because people follow their leaders.
Of course, yes. That's why they are called leaders. You lead, others follow.
If they believe that they are genuine and that what they are doing is in the best interest of the country, Lee Kuan Yew inherited a chaotic country.
But he brings everybody back to line. True leadership, yes.
Exactly. He came, but the traditionalists in Singapore resisted him. They fought him, but he stood his ground. He decreed that all his cabinet ministers and himself wear only white as a symbol of purity. And when people saw purity in the activities,
not just by the symbolism of wearing white, in their actions, activities, and governance,
they followed him. And today, everybody in Singapore is happy and rejoicing.
It's like a deity in Singapore.
You can't even find poor people in Singapore
again.
But what in our own country,
we just came with there's a new national anthem.
The last presidents of Nigeria all gave the same promises and all asked for more time.
Yes.
Give him, he just came in. If you are elected to a term of 4 years, you are heading towards the end of the end of second year. What time more do you need?
And you want to campaign for another one.
And you want to campaign for another one. And then they call on Nigerians to be patient. And naturally, Nigerians are patient people. We are patient.
The most patient people in the world.
And the reason why we are patient is because we believe that you are doing something to help us at the end of the day.
We've been having this hope.
But you are not patient. How can you teach your children to be patient when you don't have patience? It's a wicked father that asks his children to fast and is eating.
Bring jumbo bread.
Yes, even when he's eating.
Bring jumbo bread.
You see what I'm saying? Very unfortunate situation
we have found ourselves, really. Yeah.
So I think this is an issue that the Nigerian people will have to demand a change. SERAP, if you ask me, has done more for governance in Nigeria than all the
people will be elected. The number of issues they've raised, the number of cases they've gone to court with.
Even when they have gotten victory in the court.
A few, yeah.
Who is
no enforcement.
Because you have this incentive compatibility between the executive and the legislature.
But they keep raising genuine questions, and that's why we must celebrate them. Yes. Even if they get judgments or not, they go to court or not, the fact that they raise it in our consciousness, they keep throwing up some of these issues, means they have to be celebrated.
That was one of the reasons why it was in this studio we said that the National Assembly needs to be independent. Because they control the purse of government and they have the power of oversight.
Yes.
Now, this whole practice that whoever is sworn in as president will want to have his lapdog
as the Senate president, as the principal officers,
and all that, and it dishes out the offices like a favor to them, so that they cannot resist.
Even works for them to emerge.
You understand? So that's where we have this problem. This should be done independently. The national leadership of the National Assembly should emerge independently.
Yeah, because of the doctrine of checks and balances.
Yes.
The oversight function they need to carry.
I don't understand how long. I don't know how long this would take us. But this whole idea, like Okonjo-Iweala said, during the time of former President Jonathan,
yes,
they couldn't pass the budget unless they were approved. I think 17 billion to be shared amongst them. And in our books,
and they held it down. Yes,
in our books, is there fighting corruption is dangerous. So this thing has been going on, but the question is, who is ready to make that reform? Who is ready to enforce that reform? Why is it that the RUMFAC cannot prescribe the salaries and the allowances of members of the National Assembly? They are not a law unto themselves.
Well, they are not a law unto themselves. Well, people have said that, look, we need to look at the electoral process. I think during the elections, just after the elections, when all cases were being concluded, we had a reps member somewhere in the east, who had revealed that, look, not the entire electoral process. For my court case alone, I spent over 500 million naira.
Yeah.
And so people are saying that, look, in fact, that was one of the things people said to, nullify and rubbish whatever RUMFAC was saying about the jumbo pay of our lawmakers. That, look, you can't on court case alone spend 500 million. I'm sure the man that spent 500 million on court case alone would have spent the same amount or if not more to win the elections.
Well, I can tell you where some of the money came from. The fact is that, once you are elected into the National Assembly,
yes,
whether your case has been dispensed with or
not, yes,
there are Nigerian banks that will approach you
for loans.
Want to give you loans.
So what are you selling?
Yes.
What factory do you have as a lawmaker?
The jumbo packages
banks will come to meet a lawmaker.
Yes, and say, look, we have this loan for you. We can give you
to set up which factory or to run which business.
Where the factory in the National Assembly is there. So if you are a senator, they could offer you 500 million. If you are a House of Rep, you get you about 400. And they say you pay this from your earnings
and all the whole business.
Aside that, there is also most of the banks going around hawking their shares to members of the National Assembly. They manage those shares, sell for them, and give them money. And this is not we are still talking about these are interactions between banks and them. Now you then talk about interaction between them, ministries,
status agencies who are bringing in budgets and what have you.
And then where funds are loaded into certain things, for us to approve your budget,
this one must come into it.
So look, these things can be traced. But where is the willingness
to do the right thing?
Do what is right for the country?
Well, I was just talking about what some of these guys have to spend, to win elections at that level. And Barrister gave us an idea as to how these things come. So the business of lawmaking, and I think governance generally, how badly are we running down to the point where a simple thing as knowing what our lawmakers earn has become problematic. It's become something that we have to throw up and down. Government after government have not been able to do anything about it. Now we have a situation where maybe one or two of the senators are now coming out to say, look, you can't be deceiving Nigerians. Maybe out of good conscience, God knows what had prompted them to say that, look, I get over 21 million naira every month. No, if you put that up over 1 year, you know what it amounts to. That's about $500 million naira. And there are people who say that, look, that's even a joke compared to what these guys eventually get for themselves, legally or illegally. But Sarkozy have talked about parastatals, ministries, agencies who come up with all manner of things. Is this the business of governance in Nigeria? Is this what we do? Is this what we should continue to do? And how do we get out of this mess?
Well, Nigeria is a peculiar country. And our politicians are peculiar people. They are peculiar in the sense that from the time that you want to run as a lawmaker, as an aspirant, you started spending money. Not the candidate, as an aspirant.
You never give a ticket,
No, that one. I know a senator. He served in the last
assembly, the 9th assembly,
and he told me that he didn't know about other states, that is in no state and that senatorial district. He said if you want to contest for any election in senatorial district, to be a senator, can you have about 800-900 million
to start with, just having
and just up your market box
and burn it. So you must have it to throw around and throw away. Don't try it.
Don't even try it. Then being a candidate, the party members are going to collect their own. No, you cannot emerge even if you are a reverend father. Maybe you are going to have a reverend father earlier. The way he got the
ticket of the party to explain to us.
Spend money at all. Then after that, when you are now a senator, the money people collected in that part, the money they spent,
you want to recover it.
Then another thing again is this: there is nobody on the basis of the money they spend and how they spend the money. Can we see any politician that is incorruptible? Because
of what they have to put into their election.
Then another thing again is this: if we look at the number of committees that all these senators fall into and the oversight functions, the money that was appropriated for them cannot even buy biro for even a week compared to the money they see.
They eventually get for themselves.
Then another thing again is this: I have said this severally, that in Nigeria, all the budget system that we are having, we are using it to service those people that are ruling us.
We create the budget to service them.
We service them. Now, how can we get out of this? For us, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. Because in Nigeria, we build personality, we don't build a system.
Strong individuals, not strong institutions.
We don't. If you are rich and you are connected and you are a politician in this country, you can kill somebody on national television and nothing will happen. Now, we have EFCC. Somebody has been alleged as a minister of humanitarian. What has happened to him? He has not been invited. If he has been invited, the investigation is going to another month and nothing is happening.
That's better. It is she. Actually.
Yes. And don't forget, we also saw her using letterhead of the same ministry that was suspended to beg people not to protest.
But what has happened to Betta Edu? Her case is just there.
Nothing is happening because
investigation is still going on.
Yes, now.
She's automatic.
Then another thing again is this.
Yes.
Look, in Nigeria, there is everything for the rich and the politician. Connected people in Nigeria.
Just connect yourself.
How are we going to? That's the reason why, if you are a crook or your case is going on anywhere in any court in Nigeria, if you are elected to hold any political post, forget it. That case is going to go on till you are going to die. Burusi Kashamu, do you know the number of cases on him before he became senator? What happened after that?
The cases were just there pending in different courts until he died.
Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ is still alive. He was a governor before he became senator. From 1999 to 2003, from 2007, his case, I don't think he has even reached calling witnesses.
The case is just there. Fayose has a case.
I don't even mention all those ones. All those 2007 governors.
All their cases.
The leave is Yahoo boys. 2 weeks.
So
judgment will come.
It's going to be very difficult. One, the processes of creating our laws, amending some things is difficult. Because every governor has a tendency to be a senator. That place is a home where you retire.
Just retire and enjoy yourself.
So they won't accept any law that they know is going to affect them in the future.
So
they will not. They will not. Then another thing again is this: if you look at our senators, our House of Rep members, lawmakers, that is the same way House of Assembly members are copying them. Now, do you know that in some states, if you are a lawmaker, you are better than 2 local government chairmen put together in some states?
Because of what you get for yourself.
And I know 2 persons that can use as an example. I won't mention their names. Before they become House of Assembly member, one is selling work clock. He's selling work clock. That work clock is not on retail basis, so you only buy 5 every 5 days.
And begin as assembly member, state assembly.
Yes.
What's he selling now?
That person.
What's he selling now?
What do you say?
What's he selling now?
If he wants to be selling a house, he have houses that he can sell.
Number of houses, yeah.
Then I know one is a secondary school teacher. Ask me what he's teaching. Then agriculture,
which is a good course. If you ask me,
agri teacher, and he doesn't have a farm.
Yeah, but this is teaching.
He became House of Assembly member.
He has a farm now.
He didn't have a farm. In fact, he's selling cars
now.
Yes, he's selling
car dealer now.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Now tell me, that's the reason. If you will see them, they want to kill themselves. I'm telling you, we are not going to get out of this.
But let me ask you before I get to Jᴏɪᴜᴜᴜ, do we have any hope of getting out of this mess? Because this is a mess, really. I thought that, look, 25 years of sustained democracy would have evolved to the point where these things become so easy for us, the culture gets better, but it looks as if it's getting worse and worse by the day. There's no hope anywhere. As to accountability, the fact that these things are done with this level of brazenness, impunity, it seems like it's a lost cause.
There is no hope.
No hope anyway. Jᴏɪᴜᴜᴜ.
There is no hope.
Because again, we are in the era of renewed hope. We are being told to daily renew our hope. We've had to even go back to the old national anthem to talk about loyalty to the nation, commitment to the nation. The president has said it severally that, look, he wants a situation where we can even print the national flag, the national pledge, and recite it every morning to remind us of our commitment and loyalty to the nation. But a simple matter, Jᴏɪᴜᴜᴜ, as knowing what our legislators earn has become problematic. How bad is our situation? And do you also believe that there's no hope really in solving this problem?
Well, at what you are discussing now is at the tertiary level. Let people go to the primary level. I think the first thing today when Barrister Curtis enter this place, he asked one question, which is the importance of how in conversation. Oh, we say today is your birthday, it's okay. He said, how many people are here? So that if we need to buy water, which means that if we want to do anything, we find out how many numbers, so that we don't go and spend maybe excess money or less money to do what we want to do. I think before we will be saying how much these people are earning, let us be able to see. Have Nigeria ever sit down and say, okay, what is wrong in not having at least close to the accurate population of Nigeria? Because if you don't know the number of people that you want to govern, it's going to be a miracle for you to say, how do you now measure your performance? You are a MD of a company. You don't know the number of staff that you have. Just every month, say they bring a figure, you say approve. They bring figure allowance, you say approve. It just shows that you know what you're actually doing. So for me, what we should be asking Nigeria as at this very point in time, in which they were trying to do in 2023, I think the former president was saying, okay, let them do population. Let them even know the population of Nigeria. Money was set aside. And I was so happy I said, okay, at least to help the incoming president, let the person know, so that when he's campaigning, oh, Nigeria have so number of, is it actually 200 or 190 million? It will not say, okay, this 190 million, I will bring an expert who will help me to plan how we provide number of school, the number of hospital, and the rest of them. So, for if we are not sincere, we are not looking at it to be important that we should know close to accurate population of Federal Republic of Nigeria, people living here. Then it's a rule for these people to be paying themselves any amount of money. When we do budget, again, I don't know whether it is wrong that before we present another budget for the year, we look at the performance of the budget that maybe the outgoing year.
Budget
look
performance.
At the performance. The House of okay, ministry by ministry come. Tell us what the money we approve for you for the last year, maybe fiscal year, whatever. What have you done? How many? If it is Ministry of Education, how many schools have you built? What are some of the
things in the budget that you'll be able to implement? Budget implementation.
But look at it, that if we are presenting a budget in Nigeria, it's just they will just put date. Sometimes only the date that differentiate the budget of maybe
1 year from another one.
2020 from 2021 and 2023. I have a laptop that I've been taking to Computer Village. They work on it, and that laptop is older than some of my children. You understand it? But we see in Nigeria budget every year people buy
the same thing over and over again. Yes,
every year. They buy a pot. Every year they buy
vehicles,
even when they don't even use those spoon in their. So that show that we are not very serious in the primary thing. The other thing that we are now asking now, there is room for them to be doing whatever thing they are doing, because thank God the SERAP is trying to ask a question. The question is, the issue there is, I will beg that maybe those that write dictionary for Nigeria, they should find a way to smuggle shame into our own dictionary. Because, for example, when you are doing something, you think, oh, what if you reach out? Your children, your wife, your family is asking you, for why do you do ABC? Some of these are lawmakers or some member of executive, another one that are heading one position or the other. For me, they don't even care about what will happen to their children. This story that there will be people that will be going on about their fathers and the rest of them. So if there is no shame, that's the reason people don't care. And how much I am collecting or how much I am not collecting. And I think they are very, very bold and to be doing some of what these things. The reason is, again, is this. I was in one very top person house. What I was shocked that was a section. Some Christian people, they came and pray for the man's forgiveness. They give them food, they chop. They give them envelope. The other faiths equally came for the same person. Praying for and I asked Oga, these people have been praying, coming to pray for you. Which sin have you been committing that people have to be coming
to pray for you?
Different set of. It's only the people in the other side, Shongo, that did not say they coming to pray. So, and again, those money that is given to all these people, at least should be part of the money that they are having without uncountable money. So, Nigeria is a very, very unique country, and maybe one day we will sit down. We now know the importance of data. That, I think if you want to pay a particular person, you should be able to say, okay, this agency, this arm of government is actually having so amount of money as a budget. So I will not plan for it. And the worst thing that is not happening to Nigeria is this, which I don't know why they are doing like that, is some of this money are being borrowed. What? We borrow money for family, then me I will thief that money, then something must be wrong.
All right. Well, again, you know, the sad part of like Joseph has rightly pointed out is that we're even borrowing money to run the budget. It's not as if the money is available. Yes. You know, so if it was a country that has a lot, the money is available, maybe Saudi Arabia can go into this kind of profligacy, really, wasteful spending, because that's a country that seems to be making a lot of money. They throw it around in sports and what have you. Unfortunately, a larger part of our budget is in deficit, and we have to keep borrowing to run the budget. And a simple thing like knowing what our legislators earn has become very problematic. They've not really been able to offer Barrister Court any reasonable explanation. Yes, they've insulted people who have raised questions. They keep denying this, but how would they defend it when a member of the Senate is saying that, look, I take home over 21 million every month,
and it's not a principal member?
So God knows what the principal members are getting,
and they are going to deal with him.
Don't forget for coming out to talk.
Yes, Senator from Bauchi, who was suspended, who raised questions about the same budget.
Abunigi, yes.
Of course,
he will do me.
In the plenary
that day, have come to apologize.
In the plenary that day,
yes,
you heard different senators get up and say, "Look,
you should be punished. You should be suspended."
No, that the guy is not lying. That I got this amount of money.
Of course, yes. But the fact that he raised the issue,
the fact that he raised the issue, he said what did he? It's something that is encroached on their privileges
and procedure. Yes.
So Nigerians getting to know the truth about what happened is a breach of privileges
protocol, parliamentary protocol
of these big guys. But the reality is that we do not have a government that has the political courage to charge forward on some of these issues on behalf of the Nigerian people, because they think that because they are in the office right now, they are surrounded by themselves, and whatever happens, they can always navigate it among themselves. They are not even bothered about what their people are feeling or saying. Now, in other parts of the world, let me give you a particular example about Germany. Germany, like Nigeria, has atomized governance. In other words, federal, state, regions, county and all that. At the county level, for instance, the county has the responsibility of planning for people within the county. And the first thing they do is they take their data. Oh, does this county have more elderly people? If yes, that is the basis for planning to build more elderly homes and introducing programs that will help the elderly.
Using data.
Using data. If they have much younger generation, then they know they have to build more schools, they have to build kindergarten, they have to build homes where children can go have food, and all that. That's how you govern the people. Now, in our own country, people come in with preconceived notion about what Nigerians want.
for us.
Yes. You heard how somebody said removing the subsidy was not part of the plan. But while he was at the Eagle Square that day,
courage came into
him. And that courage has thrown all of us into economic dustbin. He has no solution. Don't let anybody deceive you. The floating of the dollar, the removal of the subsidy.
He's running after him today.
And all the story. and then, to make matters worse, and I know this will dovetail into the second matter. Issue. We are borrowing to buy brand new aircraft that a Chinese company is now seizing.
Not the Chinese.
How embarrassing can that be? All right, let's go into the second issue, because when the Chinese story came up, and we're told that 3 presidential aircrafts from the presidential air fleet had been seized. 2 we had put in the market, up for sale. The 3rd being an aircraft that had just been purchased and we're waiting for the delivery. And that was barely 2 months after the presidential air fleet flew into controversy over the decision of the House of Reps Committee on National Security and Intelligence to purchase 2 new aircraft. It has come to light that the federal government may have followed through with the procurement of the aircraft. Like I said, at least we've always been reading the news. It was as if it was still a case that was being discussed, and one had expected that such a procurement would have happened with maybe the next appropriation or maybe a supplementary budget eventually. But with what we've seen with the legal tussle between Ogun State and Chinese firm Zhongshan Funshen revealed that despite intense opposition, a 150 billion naira Airbus A330 was acquired for the PAF, that's the Presidential Air Fleet, which already has 2 Falcon 7X jets, 2 Falcon 900 jets, Gulfstream G50, 1 Boeing 737 BBJ, Nigerian Air Force 001 or Eagle 1, and Gulfstream IVSP Gulfstream Cessna Citation 2 and Oxydny 125-800 jets. That's what we have in our Presidential Air Fleet. Look at the list I've just read out. The number of aircrafts we have in the presidential. Now we've added Airbus 330, and it's valued at around 50 billion naira.
That's what airlines use for commercial purpose.
Yes. That's the real deal. The real deal. And of course, there are aviation experts who have said that look, that's the price of the aircraft in itself. That if it's not going to be fitted,
they have to fit it.
They have to fit it for presidential luxury.
They have to put bathroom. They have to
put bathrooms, because they have to fit it.
Yeah, they have to fit it.
The plane is the plane. You now have to model it to the taste of the president. Specifics.
I buy Korope without seats.
You don't have to now, and what the aviation experts are saying that we could be looking at another 30 billion naira. Depending on how luxurious they want the aircraft to be.
Of course, it's going to be the most top of the range.
Because it's not something that's going to be.
Nigeria is a very rich country. Why not?
Nigeria is a very rich country.
Yes.
But
at least if you borrow, the money is in your pocket at the moment. Is that not?
And you spend it anyhow.
No. Fuad,
You now be thinking of
let's say you go
how
to the bank.
pay it.
Yes.
Go to a bank today and borrow 30 billion. Won't your neighbors know that you're a rich man?
But let's start with the issue of this aircraft. Like I said, this was really had been met with different opposition. I think Mr. Peter Obi opposed the timing. Atiku opposed the timing. And a lot of Nigerians too have said that, look, this should not be happening when the government is telling the people there's no money, be patient, we got the bankrupt. Yes, there are the issues. Again, the committee that recommended this thing to be bought has said that, look, there were twice that the president had to come back or used a commercial aircraft. The vice president had to cancel his trip because there was a problem with the aircraft, blah blah blah. But there are people who have said that, look,
Cannot be fixed.
that's what some people some Nigerians are saying, look, can you fix the aircraft?
I was on the British Airways flight from Philadelphia to come to the UK. That flight couldn't fly that night because the pilot detected that if it does, it could take off, but it won't be able to land. And they kept us for a long time. After some time, they decided that we should go home until they fixed the aircraft the next day.
So the same aircraft was fixed.
Yes, and that is a commercial jet that runs around every day. How often does the presidential jet fly?
And you have a fleet anyways.
What is wrong with it? Is it that the engine knock as it used to knock in cars? What is wrong with it? You see, again, poverty is not only poverty of the pocket. Poverty of the mind is the worst form of poverty.
Yeah.
But Mali said that a fool is thirsty in the abundance of water. When you are not hungry and you eat, you are an evil person.
You are not hungry and you are eating.
And you are eating. And of all God's creation or creatures, only human beings kill when they are not hungry. A tiger will not kill if it's not hungry. A lion will not. Even snake will not attack you if it's
If you don't become a threat or in danger, yeah.
Look at how do these people process information? Because they don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about us. They say they can go on to the street and make noise. Even the right to go and make noise, they took away from us. They say we can't take it anymore.
The time is wrong. The timing is wrong.
You are talking about Peter Obi and Atiku. Are they citizens of Nigeria? They lost the election, so they are disqualified from saying anything about their country
Because they lost an election.
Yeah, because and they have become enemy. Whatever they say, no matter how good or how real or
how reasonable,
the mere fact that they lost,
they should not talk again.
They say, "Oh, these are bitterness coming from politicians who lost elections, who were rejected,
and they are looking for a backdoor way to change the government.
Looking for a bad way to change the government, as if the opposition should just keep quiet because they lost an election." There is nowhere in the world where government disregard people the way the Nigerian government disregard its own people. And you know the funny thing, we go cup in hand begging foreign countries to borrow us money and multilateral agencies.
These countries don't even have the luxury we give to our leaders.
Look, the French president.
Yes.
Does he go about with an aircraft dedicated to him?
To whom?
The British Prime Minister. Does he have an aircraft dedicated to him?
Those are not they work.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And these are guys that are working their heads off for their people.
To better the lives of the people.
Of the people. And that is why the same set of leaders go to these countries for medical treatment and for rest.
Use the hospital.
Do you go to a place that is not better than your own to go and rest?
But their leaders don't have the luxury. You enjoy.
They don't have that luxury. Now, when you mention the aircrafts that are already in the presidential kitty, you know that the Gulfstream 650 is a long haul aircraft. In fact, most of the super rich people in the world, that's what they use.
Yes.
Only few super rich individuals, like this guy from Saudi Arabia, Prince Tawad or something, that has the Airbus 320 customized for him. Most of the billionaires in the world, they are using the Gulfstream 650.
Yeah.
That's what they use, because they're long haul. Now we have all these aircraft in the presidential.
A long list, actually.
Because one or two in cases of the aircraft not functioning well. The aircraft is a machine.
And it can be fixed.
You can even change the entire engine of the aircraft.
The fact that you even put it up for sale and somebody is willing to buy means that it can be serviceable and it can be fixed.
Guys are just chasing luxury. And when you talk, you know what they say? I wrote something and said, look, in a country where majority of people are living below poverty line, why are we buying new aircraft? So the guy replied and said, you want the president to die?
No, that was what Bayo told Peter Obi, that is he planning to kill the president?
Do you understand? Before he became president, was he not flying around in some private aircraft?
I think he was his own private jet.
In fact, they told us that, look, they are so rich that they don't need anything from us. What about this man buying his own, using his own money to buy his own president?
Or whatever jet he has, that is being reported.
And then borrow it to Nigeria for now.
Or even dash it to the country.
No, don't even dash us.
And
look,
use this.
This is my plane, no. I'm not using your own.
But I'll use this one.
I'll use it for myself. It's my money. I have used to buy it. But I'm just going to put it in the service of this country because I want to work for you. It's not too much for him. But the fact that how Nigerians feel about any issue does not even matter. Once they have decided, once you're elected to an office, you become the wisest. Nobody else can speak to you again that you will listen, either because they lost election or they don't have political power. These are the biggest problems in our country. Look at what happened in the United States. You heard Joe Biden, President Biden saying, unless I see God come down from heaven physically and say to me, Joe, you are going to lose this election.
I will not step down.
I will not step down. 24 hours after that, Biden was confronted by some of his trusted aides. Sir, this is what the polls
is saying.
The polls are saying that if you don't step down, you will lose election to Donald Trump and your legacy will be destroyed. That man simply sent out a message that he has decided. We were here when the news broke. That he's stepping down and he's no longer be seeking re-election. That's where you have responsible leadership, where leaders are led by polling. And the polling, of course, has to do with the feeling
of the people.
Of the people. But here it doesn't matter. And you know why it doesn't matter? They don't get in there with your votes. Whether you like it or not, they find themselves into political power. And so they don't care about you. But you see, it will not continue forever. Everything has an expiry date. The Nigerian people will take over the affairs of their country. You know, this whole idea that once you are in power, you have every power and authority over the people has got to stop. If you don't want to operate a democracy, let's go to the rule of the jungle. The only reason why we chose democracy and we say it's better than military rule is because of the freedom and liberty to speak out and contribute to how we are governed. If that is not the reason, I don't think democracy has paid us in any way better than military rule. If the military allows me the liberty and the freedom to contribute to how I'm governed and have the liberty to speak out and do other things, can you tell me today in Nigeria that democracy is better than the military government if the military offers us that? And if in a democracy we also don't have access to that again, then what do we have? So I think it is high time for them to start listening to the people at all levels of government. I'm not talking about the federal government alone. In some states, governors are emperors. Emperors. They cannot be challenged. The House of Assembly is an extension of the governor's mansion. The speaker goes there to take instruction and he goes back to
implement it.
Implement it. He doesn't care what the other members are saying. He doesn't care about what the opposition members in the House are saying. Once the governor wants it, it has to be done. And you go to the local government level where the governors themselves again are emperors. It is what the governor says as the state capital that the chairman of the local government implements. So this is the challenge we are facing. That government is not about the people.
Or what the people think.
It's about those who are in power part time. And they can do whatever they want because we have nothing to do.
All right, governance is not about the people. Unfortunately, democracy says government should be about the people. Nuruddin, Ogun State. And that's your state. That's why I'm starting with you on this particular
Sandra
is hiding now.
see what Ogun State has cost us.
Our plane.
We never even tear the nylon for the body.
Of
this nylon. The one we put in the market to sell, they carry out. The one where
we never even test them.
Two of your former governors in Ogun State, Nuruddin, Senator Ibikile Amosun, and also another Senator Benga Daniel, two former governors from your state, have vowed to support the federal government's effort to recover the national assets seized by a French court. They are vowed to help recover those that the federal government, don't worry.
You know, say that company they discuss don't be Chinese as a country, na company.
Again, I will struggle to call this Chinese a Chinese firm Zhongshan Industrial Investment Company Limited. I will call them ZF going forward. I got judgment from the court which led to the seizure of 3 presidential jets: a Dassault Falcon 7X, a Boeing 737, and Airbus 330. That's a new one. That's why I'm even pained. Never even use them. In 2007, the Ogun State government entered into a joint venture agreement with Zhongshan and another company to create the Ogun State Free Trade Zone company. That's in Igbesa. I think that was where Dangote was supposed to even build his refinery before he moved it to Lagos.
Yes,
maybe it was all of these rough in the man just say no.
No, he has foresight.
Before they will seize my refinery. Shebi is battling crude oil now. Maybe they would have seized the refinery. So, but in the first half of 2016, the agreement between the two parties broke down, leading to Zhongshan filing lawsuits in Nigerian federal and state courts to seek restatement of its contractual rights, which failed. However, after taking the case before the French court, the company was awarded damages. The court prohibited Nigeria from moving or selling 3 presidential jets until the Chinese firm was paid $74.5 million awarded by the court. The former governors, in separate statements on Saturday, described the company as a scammer, adding that there was no basis for the company's claim to compensation. And also in a statement he signed on Saturday, said Nigeria should not give the company any listening ear, or doing so would amount to encouraging an unlawful entity without local standard to appropriate our common patrimony. And also added that after receiving a diplomatic note from the government of China dated March 11, 2016, the state government discovered that China Africa was the rightful investor. After due consultation with the relevant organs of government, we gave effect to the request of the Chinese governor, former Governor Senator Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ M骚ɪ�ᴜ, saying that look, he was an impostor that got the contract. When they discovered it from a letter from the Chinese government, he decided to terminate the contract. Benga Daniel, on his part, said he was ready to provide documents that would help the federal government pursue the case against the Chinese firm. The senator representing Ogun East Senatorial District also promised to help President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to find a diplomatic solution to the national embarrassment. Daniel described the legal conundrum as a sensitive matter involving collective national assets and commonwealth, which every Nigerian should be concerned about. And so on and on and on. Let's look at this case, Nuruddin, because again, we'll look at what Professor Patutomi is saying about due process, about the way we award contracts and terminate contracts, about the issue of vested interest, about how we mess up business ideas when we try to infuse our own personal interests, gratifications, and what have you. Or maybe I should just take what Professor Patutomi has said and we'll just take it together. Say, well, so they impounded the Nigerian presidential jet in a tweet in his X handle that is an ultimate symbol of national emasculation. How did we get there? How did we get here? Do we need a presidential jet fleet? 2 things. He has 2 tweets that I think is relevant to our conversation. The first is why we even need a presidential air fleet and why are we buying a new one? So again, asking questions as to the luxury we give our leaders. And the second tweet is about what the Ogun State governor also did to him when he went into a form of contract with them. The first tweet from his X-handle is a question of the need for us to have this number of aircraft in the presidential air fleet and why we're buying a new one. He said, look, so they impounded the Nigerian presidential jet. That is the ultimate symbol of national emasculation. How did we get here? Do we need a presidential jet fleet? Those who weaned us to the milk of the modern state, Britain, did not have such for their PM. He said that the PM does not have, just like Sarkozy have said, that the British Prime Minister does not have a presidential jet to himself.
The king does not have.
But at one time before Air Peace, the presidential fleet in Nigeria of 4 people, there are more jets than most commercial airlines in the country. There are more jets than most What are you saying, that we have more private jets in the country than commercial airlines?
Yes, now.
More private jets in the country than commercial airlines in the country.
Go to the airport, you see them.
They are just there.
Oh.
Owned by who and who? Well,
one belongs to Joseph.
well, Professor Patutomi is saying that richer South Africa had their presidential had their president flying commercial. Even the British Prime Minister hired British Airways planes to get the job done. So where did we learn this habit, which allows family and friends to fly presidential aircraft to parties and events? I think we've had reported cases of where the son of the president even flies, the presidential jets.
The former president, his also daughter went for shooting, even with her plane.
With her plane, with presidential.
Yes.
What about the son of the late former head of state Abacha?
Yes.
Ibrahim and his friends were using the
They were just flying it around. So where did we get the habits from a poor Nigeria? Now, on Ogun State, this is what Professor Patutomi is saying. So it was Governor Amosun's violation of contractual terms signed by his predecessor that brought the shame of seizure of jets from the presidential fleet. I hope he is happy at his achievement. The whole matter is karma at work. The Chinese were not the only victims. One prominent Ogun indigene allegedly committed suicide with similar Amosun action. I too was a victim. This is Professor Patutomi's. I had leased Opik land in Lagos in a BOT agreement under Governor Daniel. Amosun stopped all such on being sworn in. I called him. He said he did not see my name on the list. I went to Abeokuta. He called in Yewande Amosun, who said mine was a straightforward deal. They did not include it. He asked that all be included but mine be quickly sorted. That began a rigmarole that went on for years. I made another trip to Abeokuta. He drove me back to Lagos at the wheels with my driver trailing along with the escorts and sirens. He had earlier asked that I make a request for a refund of what I paid, even though my South African partners and I had invested 200 million naira in addition to the lease amount at that time. With just two of us in the car, he advised I make a claim of 100 million naira and write for additional payments the day after I cashed the check. It was surreal, but if I got nothing more, it would be better than being in court until we both retire. I took the case to APC leader, that's the president now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Baba Konde. There was no result. Took it to Akpabio when he took over. Nothing came of it. It happened to Freda, and I wondered what enemies were going through. I lost my weary South African partners who owned a successful regional chain across South Africa and Asia. I licked my wounds and slaved to pay off the loans. The Chinese had better leverage. They took it and all ashamed. My new book, Power Policy, Politics and Performance, documents a similar case study in Enugu involving South African investors as the gubernatorial batons change hands. When shall we learn? Value shape human progress. Again, we've talked about all of these things. We have the PNID. We've had situations where people come in, they just cancel contracts. We are not able to follow contracts through. Patutomi is saying here that, look, he had to slave to pay that money. And he lost that relationship with South African partners just because people, sometimes because he's a predecessor, you don't want to go near their projects, or you have something about one thing, you just cancel it. Nurudin, this is an embarrassment, whether we like it or not. Yeah. What does this say about us as a people when it comes to contractual obligations, getting into contracts and terminations, and the way we even run businesses in this country?
Number one, Fuad, did you know what made me sad? The day the Ogun State government, the entourage, and these people went to Igbesa, I was part of the journalists that was there. I know that zone very well, like the back of my hand. Some people can be lying. Thank God I'm a Nigerian, I'm not a Chinese. If you have an agreement with people, there are three things that is always in the agreement. Agree on one thing that both of you and how you want to share it. Two, if you want to opt out, what are the things you are going to get at the end of the day? And that is exactly what this company is talking about. They did not blindfold Ogun State to sign that contract
in the first place.
They did not blindfold the Nigerian government to stand as a surety for Ogun State, because international organization will never deal with a state. They must have the country to stand. And that is exactly what happened. If you want to opt out, you can't just cancel an agreement without making a request how to go out of that particular agreement. Nigerian government, all tiers of government, local government, state and federal. I know a particular caller that is part of the caller we normally, as we speak, that a particular local government in Lagos State is still owing that man for over 8 years as I speak.
Yeah, he keeps talking about them not paying it. Yeah,
because he gave the document, and I look at that document. Why is it not good? Because somebody is a former chairman, he has left.
Somebody has come now, he doesn't want to pay.
And he didn't want to pay, and it's over 8 years now. The same way with the governors. The OPIC that he talks about.
Yeah, that's
I think I
particularly.
have 3 friends that lost their lands and nothing come out of it. They don't even get a refund. And if you take a government to court in that part, you can only do that at home. You can't do it in another country. And that is exactly what the Chinese company is showing them. That is what they are showing them.
But sorry, Pastor Curtis, you talked about entry and exit clauses when you are signing contracts.
That's abroad.
And I think that the excuses these 2 former governors are giving, at that level, we should not be having these kinds of things, because I'm also talking about the company being an impostor. One would expect that, look, before you go into any contractual agreement, you do your due diligence. You check and recheck. You have the Chinese embassy here. You have the Chinese envoy here. There's also, I'm sure there's a Chinese trade investment arm that you can check and recheck before you go into these kinds of contract. That's number 1. Number 2, what was the contract about, and were there exit clause, and did we really follow all of those things? So
in a decent country, let's put this in a reverse gear. For instance, if Amosu and Gbenga Daniel was to be Chinese, they'll be in handcuffs right now in the country
for what they've cost their country.
They cost the country. And don't also forget that if contract is about to be entered, the government will stand as a guarantee, provide a guarantee. The government also as guarantee has a responsibility to ensure that the state deliver on their own side of the agreement. And the question I want to ask is, what did the federal government do in the last 12 years to ensure that this issue was resolved? What did the federal government even do to ensure that Ogun State perform its own part of the agreement? Nothing. Because you know why? We believe that there are no consequences for deviant behavior in this country. This is a country where contracts are given out, they are terminated. You recall that when President Buhari came, after the award of the Disclose certificates to these people and they were not performing, there was a lot of pressure on the president to cancel. But he said he wasn't going to terminate because what he was going to pay to these people who were not performing was much more than what the country was going to save from the process.
Because your people kept talking about revoke the contract.
So he had to go on with it. Now, the question is, like you rightly said, what did Gbenga Daniel do before he signed this contract? Did he not speak to the Chinese government? They have an embassy in Nigeria. Did he go to the commercial department of the Chinese embassy to say, do you know this company, Zhongshan Funcheng? And if you know them, what do they do?
For their track records?
The contract that they signed, did they not have benchmarks? Oh, with this also period,
deliverables.
You should have done this. You should have, and if you fail to do any of this, we will reserve the right to terminate the contract. They didn't do that. You cannot just wake up and say, because the Chinese government told you that those guys are impostors.
Did you ask them in the first place before you signed the contract?
These are things you should, due diligence should have uncovered for you. Because really, there are companies going all over the world. What they do, they just come into your country. They don't have the competence, the capability, the financial muscle, but they're signing to
do PowerPoint presentation and all manner of things and get contracts.
And those things usually happen because you have corrupt elements
who indulge them too.
Who are settled by these people, and so they sign the contract. No intention whatsoever to deliver on the contract, and then they go to the international court and sue you. Look, that has happened over so many times in this country, and the reason is nobody has been held to an account. In fact, the one in the case of the PNID, I think the former Attorney General of Lagos State.
Yes, he's answering questions.
But nothing has been fully determined. So Amosu and Gbenga Daniels can pledge their support for the federal government because they are not in handcuffs.
When they sign this contract?
Of course, if they are in handcuffs and then have to give an explanation from prison houses.
Why they did this?
They will be talking, they are pledging support for the federal government.
Support that cannot even fly anything.
Is it in the magistrate court of Ogun State or where? Where are they pledging the support? This matter is being handled by courts internationally. Only on Friday, an appeal court in the US said Nigeria cannot claim sovereignty over those things. Don't forget that in 2021, an arbitration panel sitting in England, headed by Supreme Court Justice of the United Kingdom, had awarded the amount now $74.5 million against Nigeria. There was no attempt to pay the money. There was no attempt to challenge that verdict in any court. But now we are all running helter-skelter because trying to involve helpless.
So maybe they waited for us to bring in the aircraft.
In addition, people need to know this. Last year, September 23, this government was in power, still in power as we speak. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Minister of Finance, the governor of Ogun State, Akpabio, and his entourage, including commissioner in charge of finance, Attorney General of the state in Ogun State, the one in charge of businesses in Ogun State, a large entourage. They sat down with these people in America for 3 days to be able to have a way.
Well, like you say, like you are saying,
the government cannot say. They don't know about it.
The statement the Ogun State government released immediately this thing happened also shows that they've been negotiating to settle, to in fact compensate this particular company.
Do you know what the federal government needs to do to stave us
this embarrassment?
To stop the embarrassment. Look for that money. Pay for the Chinese company and start deducting Ogun State account monthly.
Ogun State account again.
Yes, after all, the state.
It will not affect Sandra.
According to the resident, the state cannot even have physical thing that some people can even.
It will worsen their case because even when the whole allocation is coming,
can it be worse? The only thing
there's nothing to show.
Looking at is the civil servant. Is the civil servant.
They will not pay salary.
No, it's the civil servant that I care for because they work. They deserve to be paid.
But the people, infrastructure. Look, this is a state that people have questioned. It was trending on social media recently.
Even now that they have not paid the money, what is happening to the people?
In Ogun State. But to make it worse,
the man that is on the floor does not need to fear anything.
He that is down fears no fall.
If I kill behind Oga Curtis, it's as if Ogun State House of Assembly are being on the set. Maybe since last year, or they are not aware of this news.
This man,
if it is another different civilized country, the House of Assembly should be questioning
the former governors,
people now that even if required they will withdrawing some privilege that they have
from them for now.
From now, because you can't mess up Ogun State that have a person like Nuruddin here of Sandra or Obasanjo them. And you are coming out with this kind of.
Sandra and I, we are not politicians.
But you are from that state.
But we don't matter.
You are from that state.
We don't matter to them.
I have someone that died last year. He had an arrangement with Burata then with River State under Wiki. So the guy collected facility from bank that they want to build an estate. So the guy pushed those money between the state and the military then under. Immediately the man was Burata become ambassador. It doesn't concern Nigeria. The governor he said the governor doesn't even pick call, he just terminates
the entire contract.
Like that.
He said the guy, after some call from the bank, the guy BP and everything go as I'm talking to you, the guy since last year the guy is down 6 feet down. You understand? So some of these guys feel that the way we do it here, you can even ask government to come to court, they will not even come to court.
Because again the Chinese
we even need the permission of the Attorney General to sue some government agencies.
Yes.
So we cannot be
because again the Chinese guys, if you notice with this report, they started with the Nigerian courts
and nothing to get.
But I think when they got frustrated,
not even frustrated.
That's why in one of the states, around one of my friends has a job. He did finish that job just for the next government to come and then say, okay, This job is about 20-something million. The governor just say I'm going to pay 12 million.
Let me tell
you understand? If you don't want it,
leave it.
You know why these things happen? First and foremost, we do not see government as a continuum that transits from one government to another government, and that once you take over a government, you have inherited the assets and liability of that government,
which should be the normal thing.
But the problem is that we personalize power, and the thinking by the incoming person is that my predecessor, in awarding that contract, has collected all the money he needs to collect from it.
I'm not bother myself with it.
There's nothing left for me to collect. So why did he not pay the man before leaving? That's always the.
So why is he pushing the body into me?
Putting the body into me. So the only way that person can be paid is to go to the next person and arrange and say, sir, of my money that's 26 million. If we can share it half, will you pay me the balance?
No, you quickly pay that one.
That's the only thing. You know, that's why you find out that when they give contracts out, and we know they will not admit it openly, but we know what they do. There's no contract that is given out that is not structured in ways and manner that
something will return.
Something will return. Of course, we saw the video of a former governor stuffing dollars in his pocket after collection. Yes. You know, so this is the reason. If not, where things are properly done and verified,
it should not be in this mess.
The fact that Fuhad was governor and is now going, and Joseph is taking over, these departments of government should be able to pay the contractors without even them having to talk to the governor.
But maybe they check the books and they discover manner of ridiculous agreements, and so
and they all do it.
And so far it's a contractual agreement.
You have to honor it.
And one thing again that we need to do that is this: we are talking about the Chinese company here.
Contractors
that in fact some people they died. Their money is still with several state governors.
Go to mountains to pray,
and there is no
looking for hoping that their money will be paid.
You know the number of people that because the government failed in their own
part of the agreement,
that the bank, there are some people they will list as directors of some certain banks. Not that they are real debtors.
They took loans and the government failed to.
And one thing again that we need to look at. I think a responsible corporate company in Nigeria, before you do anything with any government, either state, federal, local government, especially a kind of a contract that is going to exceed the time or tenure of the person that is handling it, I'm telling you, you have to think twice. In fact, it has shown there is no investor. The way these cases are going and they are seeing it, the way Dangote and Co
suffering and going back,
I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult for any serious investor to come and invest in Nigeria with that.
You know, I wrote something about a major manufacturing outfit planning to leave Nigeria today.
Yes. You talked about it.
And somebody came and said to me, you know, who gives a hoot?
I saw your message, and he said they can leave.
If they leave, for one of them that leaves, 3 Indian companies will replace them.
Oh, so the Indians are not.
And his own father has never had a bookshop in Nigeria.
Yeah, so I
know the person very well.
So I said to him, so you are going to compare these multinationals with
established structure.
They contribute greatly to our economic development
in terms of tax, employment opportunities, pension, shares, value of shares, even civic responsibilities.
Yes.
What manner of
they support our sports development.
Some of these Indian companies that pay our people 15,000, no pension, no medical,
no gratuity,
casual workers everywhere.
So, no.
Again, you know why some of this thing is happening every time? I have 2 cases, both in industrial court. One of my friends, one just vest and go to US because the more he won a case in court, one of the telco company, and those people, the judge is as if the judge is working for some of the government or so. The issue that the court is not equally helping. The way we do accelerated here on
political cases, electoral matters,
economic matters supposed to take that kind of
expedition.
Have that assurance that if I come to court to Nigeria,
I can get justice. It's time bound. It should be time bound.
I said one of the cases 2018 is only 2 times, and those 2 times they say the judge go seminar.
Well, I saw the video.
Yes.
Of a retired Supreme Court
Justice, yes.
I sent you that video.
Yes, you sent the video to me.
And you heard what she said. And then you also listened to Chidi Odinkalu.
Yes.
How he deprecated the idea that mere swearing ceremony of federal judges was attended by almost who is who in Nigerian politics.
Yeah.
They sat down there, a lot of them politically exposed.
If
just to swear,
that will later have case.
We were there to celebrate the swearing of judges.
He said they said they were bribing the justices up front, even before the cases were
because your appearance there.
And that is also the reason why you now find out that every politician wants to have his wife or daughter
or position as a judge.
According to Justice Aogi, it was because the Supreme Court gave a decision that removed Ngige and made Peter be the governor. They realized that also the court has
these powers. So the politicians want to position people in court.
They start befriending justices of the Supreme Court of Appeal. Influencing their posting, all kind of things.
No, because again, Mr. Curtis, again, the legal aspect of this conversation before we open the phone lines, the idea of having politicians, their children, their wives, you're going to hear people say, "Oh, in other crimes it happens," but what does that say?
It happens, yes, but it's not when they are in power. That they choose their own people. Okay, let me give you a very bad example. I have a classmate when the university in Jos together. As soon as we left school, he became a magistrate somewhere in Kogi State. Then later his services were transferred to Abuja. In Abuja there, as the most senior magistrate, he couldn't get promotion to the
next level
judiciary in Abuja, becoming a judge.
A judge, yes.
So they had to send him to the Ministry of Justice, where he had attained the highest because he couldn't go beyond that director level. But you know that the children of those who are powerful and who came into the service with him,
they are judges.
They are judges. He couldn't move forward.
No, there is one in Lagos. I know ᴜᴜᴜ would know the woman in Sabo. Fair, like I won't mention her.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know that this woman, they told her, is the most senior, and they told her that, come, don't waste your time. Because you don't do what we ask you to normally
you just stay there.
You can't go there. So that woman now say, any tough cases,
just bring it.
No, she's the one that will do it. She will now do a hand. You said I will never be, no problem.
But the cases are coming to you.
Any case that comes to me, I will be objective. And that is the kind of thing. Majority of our good magistrates
are kept here.
Incorruptible one. They will never because they don't have political backing. They don't have monarchical backing. They don't have the superpower and the way we are
spiritual backing again.
Yes, now. Some pastor, men of God, general of Assad, they influence
spiritual backing.
No, they are part of the cardinal point of power in Nigeria. Do you know the number of imams that he ordinarily a note?
That this person is our
whatever he's going to be.
Okay. Well,
there was a case. This Pedro police station. A girl of 9 years was messed up. A reverend was the one that's coming to say police. Can we discuss this one? And I asked the man, say, "Oh God, you call yourself man of God. Can if they do this kind of thing to your daughter, 9 years old daughter, will you be coming here and be discussing? You know, go even kill the person before police even reach that place.
Bring the person to come. Well,
this is the person that preach in a church
and talk about morality
because the other guy work in oil company, the man that mess up the child say no, he has been the person that in the village he contribute, he do bridges, he was naming all the things. I say, sir, does that thing now make him that give him
what he has done
to do this kind of thing?
All right, we open the phone lines now, and I can see that a lot of messages have already dropped on our social media platform. You can still drop your messages. We'll try to take as much as we can, hopefully before the boy. We have Joseph Alonso in the studio. We also have Nudin Adigbe. Is a different show. Well, the first issue we've discussed on the show this evening, outrageous pay packages, disclose monthly running cost of National Assembly. SERAP tells Akpabio Abbas where lies the legal and moral burden. Seized presidential jets, questions raised on purchase of new presidential jet as ex-governors unite against Chinese company what are the underlying issues, and then cost of governance. Only those with business at United Nations General Assembly will try. Will say Tinubu, with this presidential directive be respected. We'll try and take that while we'll take the phone calls. We'll squeeze that in. Or let's just take it 1 minute before we open the phone lines.
First and foremost,
yes,
I think this is an attempt at populism in the first place, because I mean, who decides who follows the president?
The president decides.
They are the one.
Unless there are people that go.
Let me tell you, they are serious. The only people that need to be there.
We have a list now, sir.
Is the president who is going to speak and his protocol unit.
And that's it.
All the governors that go at the expense.
Maybe the Minister of Foreign Affairs, maybe you know.
Minister of Foreign Affairs should be there.
But you know we're going to see governors go now.
That's what I'm saying.
Governors will go.
They will just go and parade themselves all in the need so that they can clap hand for the president when he gives a speech. Nobody cares about all that. So. But the knows the people you should be talking to, not Nigerians.
You should not even make the news.
No.
Just do an internal memo and tell everybody.
And all we see is a reduction in the size of the entourage. And then Nigerians will begin to wonder and say, oh, what has happened? Because by circumstances, United Nations General Assembly in the US has always been a jamboree. Yes. A manner of people just travel. They have a business, they don't have a business. Look at what happened at COP28. A lot of them became celebrities on Instagram, posting hotels, posting cars. All the people that they don't want to go with them will still go. And you know they say that we paid it. We paid with the because again at COP28, you know, when the news broke that 1,411 Nigerians went there as delegates, and then it became embarrassing where they said, well, it was only 422. You know what Jimoh Ibrahim said? Yes, he said the president didn't go with enough people.
But you'll be surprised that this is just to increase the number of people that will go. This announcement from to increase the number, because for example, just go and check it. Any IGP they appointed in Nigeria, go say how do you call it? On security. Go say no, all the withdrawal of is to increase the number of so they just say because again IGPs will come and say that look, we are withdrawing police from all VIP.
What we say about contracts that were awarded and terminated by the previous people, and then the new guys who want to pay. Simply to say there's a change of order. Come and renegotiate.
But for me, I think one thing is so certain, that if Femi Gbajabiamila himself knows that Nigerians that are in power, they are wasting the resources of this particular country, you shouldn't be telling us. What we want to hear is this: after all, if somebody should call me for a press conference now, will I go there with my wife and children?
This will go with everybody. I think at the last,
because I don't know the reason why. You will know those people that it concern. What concern? Even we don't. There is no governor has their own tier of government. No, what are you going to go there with the president?
They want to impress you about their efforts in cutting costs.
Costs, yes.
But you see, what does it mean when you cut 10 naira? Then you go and spend 10 billion.
10 billion. Because I remember.
I don't know what is going to go and do in what is there.
Because I remember that at the Geneva, the ILO conference in Geneva, even the Minister of State for Labour had two people that was listed as just PAs to the minister.
She has also. Don't you see the one that go with the costumier that do makeup for her?
Well. All right, 091.
This is to increase the number.
091
to increase the number.
09136000410. 09136000410. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Your name and where are you calling from? 1 minute, sir.
My name is Abaka.
Oh, Abaka, been a while.
Yeah, I'm calling for ABJ.
Oh, okay, from ABJ today. Okay, yes, please go on, Abaka.
Thank you, sir. Mike, on this issue of these are lawmakers and
their pay.
And their pay. Look, my brother, most of the MDAs, I'm not saying all, most of the MDAs, lawmakers, either they are the ones or they are cronies and the people collecting contracts. They are making more money. In fact, some of the NDAs, some of the heads of the NCAF are even tired because of the demand from these people. They keep selling things for them, making demand. You know, so these are accounts. How do you expect those people to perform? And that's why I can see the state of NNPC that even when they were still in it, they were able to checkmate all these people. Look at what happened to during the CBN. They had their federal resign during the Presidential Governor of the LS. You know, we have Senate committee on the CBN. So before things get out of hand, this Senate is supposed to do the checks and balances.
The oversight function.
The oversight function has actually meaningless. It is not. We are not seeing anything. The only thing they only go there for their own, just for their own purpose. So until we have some kind of pressure body in this country, maybe like professional body, you know, so that when they speak, when they start making it, it's going to be an objective thing. But we rely on the National Assembly to stand for the common man. In fact, that's like an instructive thing. On the issue of the private jet.
Yes.
On the issue of this private jet.
Yes.
How can a subnational went into a contract with a firm and you now see the sovereign asset of the country?
When
the Nigerian government, where our ADF or anybody, where they invoke at any time.
When they said at some point, you know, because again, this contract you have to have the federal government stand as a guarantor. You know.
But are they actually come to our are they complaining of our court?
Yes, they actually started the case from our courts here, Abubakar.
If you listen,
if they
were unable to get justice there, then they cannot proceed.
And that's what they've done, Abubakar. If you listen to us, that's what they've done. They started with our state high court, they went to the federal high court before they took it out of the country. That's what they did.
But do they have the right to take our sovereign assets?
Well,
Abubakar, go to France and argue for us.
Abubakar, thank you so much, Abubakar. I understand your pain. It's very embarrassing. Not even a jet that we have not even seen. Hello, good evening.
Chief Ward, I agree to.
Mr. Obi, where have you been?
I don't like calling because you always making the correct points. Why should I repeat myself? When you people are doing better, I don't need to call. My father said if you go to a meeting and they're saying what they want to say, you don't need to talk in that meeting because they have said what you want to say. What? You see the case of Nigeria, I'm begging Nigeria. You see, these 21 million naira you see at it, don't you think it's too small? I want to play the devil's advocate here.
All right.
The money these politicians and senators spend before they get there, this is business. It's office. This is not legislature. They are in business. You can't spend 2 billion to be a senator and you expect not to make money to recover your money for what? It's not possible now. We can blame them as long as we are not happy. I'm not supporting them, but what they get, what they go through
before they become senators.
They spend so much, my brother. If they're close to this, we know they spend so much to be there. And it's like business. Let me tell you, see Nigeria, corruption. Your man. Let me tell you a small story about this boxer. I was part of his project in his Guinness Book of Records. Obasanjo gave approval. Yar'Adua gave approval. Jonathan gave approval. At the end of the day, Guinness Book of Records. The man started this at the age of 50. And he's now 70. It was not approved. If I tell you how much I spent for it, when you go to any ministry, the man said that 6 sports centers in the 6 political zones, and we are going to make 700 billion from the view paper deal. They are not interested. When you go there, they'll be asking us for $5 million. A man that has 400,000 naira in his account, they're asking him for $10 million for you to approve a project that Nigeria will make money.
Is that not Guinness Book of Record?
No. It's business. It's business. If you are old and you want to, you will sponsor it yourself because you are old. Because if you die there, you see a business. That's why you have to sponsor it. And Nigeria promised to sponsor that. Just payment of $1 million, and Nigeria will make a hell of money. Here, they are not interested in what they will make. It's what they will get.
All right.
That's the problem.
All right. Thank you, Obi.
Thank you, my
God bless you. And Ambashali is not backing down. I think he's still hopeful I will do it one day.
That's even beginner's book of records.
He's not backing down. Hello, good evening.
A very good evening to all the family in the studio.
Good evening, Prince Wise.
God bless all of you. Bless your management and bless my country, Nigeria.
Amen.
You see, 21 million. You call it the warning cost. The in the constituency office, how many of them work over there? You see, the person to be now is for Nigeria to find out. Is it part of their salary? They say it's not part of their salary. Is it their constituency allowance being given to them? Because at times, when you see senator rep, they bought a lot of cars for people. Is it part of the money? So they have to separate all this. If their salary is being paid, allowance is being paid, it's not up to 2 million naira per month. What of this 21 million? I want you to be thoroughly investigated and let Nigeria know about it. And I always say, the type of democracy we know in this country, borrow from America is just too expensive. And tell them with corruption. If the senator be taking home 21 million, how many of them? If you go to rep, you are wasting money. The best thing to do is dismantle the type of democracy and go back to 1960s. Type of democracy, that parliamentary system of government is the best for the country. But we will do it. Who will do it? 2014, the conference is still there. Bababa conference is still there. I just want to all the present government take off another one that is just living in 2 weeks. Take from the Bababa conference, take from Donata conference, and match it together, and let us start new revolution in this country. That's my yearning.
All right. God bless you, Prince Wise. Thank you for the call. 09136000410. We'll take this call and then we'll start to take the messages on Facebook. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Malam Salau.
Yes, Malam Salau.
Good evening, Barrister.
Where are you calling from this evening, Malam Salau?
I'm calling from Alagbado.
Okay, please go on.
Darkness like this, don't like it. On that part.
Yes.
On that part.
I'm with you.
You see the cost of governance. This is the shenanigans that Obasanjo as the worst president planted to this country. Whatever National Assembly did, they don't have to blame. We have to blame. We have to trust this into Obasanjo. And shamelessly, because this is a country that anything goes. Obasanjo has the moral to tell Nigerians, to tell people that the National Assembly is fixing their salary, which is a sort of Nigerians. At least we are not kids now. After auctioning all Nigerian resources and whatever to people that is just not to him, and still have the moral to tell the truth, we are still paying and we'll be paying for this nonsense. On that part. So we don't need to blame the National Assembly. Obasanjo has opened up to make elections as a way of making money, not as a service to the people. And we are harvesting what he has planted. By the time we tell, on behalf of myself and my family, we have never forgive him. I will never forgive him because he's affecting me. Yes. So that's what. That is it. But the aircraft, why is it that three of our aircraft, what are they doing in France? First of all, is there any provincial fleet in France?
They wanted to sell two. I don't know why, but two was to be sold.
Market now. They don't put them in market. Okay.
No one to be sold. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Salah. All right.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, let's quickly deal with some of the messages we have. I have to rush through some of them. The long ones, I'll probably have to just take a part of it. John Benjamin saying, good evening to the 4 wise men on ground for now and amiable lady Sandra. Happy birthday once again to Barrister and many more years of celebration in good health and prosperity to you, sir. ᴘᴏᴟ is saying, happy birthday to Barrister Curtis. Many happy returns of the day. We have the world. We're saying, why does Ogun State always fail to implement and commit to economic development? When it comes to state development, especially infrastructure road in particular, has been a no-no for the state. Now we are hearing the state now failing to pay or meet up with their side of agreement when it comes to payment. How much does Ogun State receive during FAC allocation? On the cost of governance, going to COP is not the priority. Using scale of preference, let them cut down on their allocation allowances, security votes, etc. We have Benson Richie saying, good evening everyone in the studio. I want to ask a question. Can this country be okay again? Because the way things are going, I don't understand. Well, we just have
don't understand.
We don't understand, but we hope and pray that it gets better one day. We have our Fis Adebara saying, happy belated birthday. Well, today is his birthday. Barrister, long life and prosperity. Badu Koni. We have Father Olubuni LC Morale saying, I salute you guys. How is your morale? And he's sending that message from the 9th Brigade Military Barracks in Ikeja Cantonment. John Benjamin saying, Barrister is right for her because China is more worse compared to Nigeria back then. Well, okay. Tochukwu Adele is saying, good evening. America to fight a very bloody war to leave Britain. The war was so bloody that France came to their aid in order to win. America has become the greatest power in the world. And you might know that China has become the second great power in the world, and Russia has become the third greatest power in the world. Where is Nigeria today? I asked I asked that as a rhetorical question. We have gone from bad to worse. That's Tochukwu Adele Thompson from Obanikoro. We have the Alpha saying, good evening everyone in the house. God will reward you all. We say amen to that. We have Basil Chika saying, political office holders, allowances and salaries as the two factors holding the country down economically and security wise. They've caused a lot of hard work in security. These countries become because they are allotted as much as security men to themselves and leave few or none to take care of the country and other things. Secondly, on the aircraft saga, the problem with Nigeria has been lack of continuity from whatever agreements and projects the previous government have, mostly when opposition takes charge. So the matter has to be investigated, and whoever found guilty or culpable should be punished. We also have John Bernardo. He is saying, good evening Mainland FM and happy birthday to our barrister in the house. With what is going on in the National Assembly and about the issue of the presidential planes, I have finally lost hope in Nigeria. No, you can't lose hope. We have no other country. We have to continue to hope for the best. We have Patrick Obiazo saying, it is most regrettable that the majority youth segment of the society that should frown at state capture and looting by politicians are the same people who yield themselves to be used to rig them into power to continue mortgaging their future for 2K or few cups of rice. We also have Zacchaeus Akinwale Olatoye saying, please, let's be real to ourselves. Where did he get the money to even buy the private jet? If we are to calculate his salary as former governor, he can't even afford to have 2 houses, not to talk of having a private jet. We have Anima Shaun Cornerstone Akipelu saying, well done, SARS. James Nwachi Ogbonna is saying, the single gentleman in the studio celebrate you ferociously. Mr. Afua, let me disagree with Barrister Curtis. Our government officials are the most hardworking public officials anywhere in the world. Yeah, so right. They deserve the best and most expensive luxury. And they deserve to feast while we fast, because the work.
With me, but I agreed with him.
They deserve to feast while we fast, because the work they do is really draining. It's not wrong to say that our president is the most hardworking president in the world, more hardworking than the US president or British Prime Minister. Okay, thank you, James Ogbonna. I have to just take a part of your message because of time. That Olajide Peter is saying, good evening, political roundtable crew. Happy birthday, Barrister Curtis. Barrister Curtis should understand that our politicians are good at observing table manners. This is to show that we are being governed by, okay? I just wonder how these people sleep at night, knowing that they are eating on a filled belly. Mainland FM School of Factual Politics, that's from Olajide from Isashi. We have Joseph Shokinston saying, good day, Nigerians. We have Christopher Effiong saying, good evening, everyone in the studio. Mainland FM, God bless you guys. Amen. Well done for the wonderful analysis you guys are giving us. There's effect you guys are making. Okay. There's an effect you guys are making my Sunday night. Nigerian politicians did not come to read Nigerians to promise now, but they come to read themselves. Thank you so much for that message. Because of time, we'll not be able to take all that message. Aburafiu Adalakwe, we've seen your message. Sorry, because of time, we can't take the message. The Alpha, we've also seen your message. Okay, we'll just have to leave. Oluwafe, we've also seen your message. Larry Olakomi, we've seen your message. We just try and squeeze in 2 more calls to balance things out, and then we'll call it a day on the show. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
My regard to the panelists in the studio there.
We greet you, sir.
Yes, so happy birthday to Barrister Curtis Adiba. Many more years, sir. This is
Mr. John, right? John from Mogba.
Yes,
okay.
John, yes.
All right, big deal.
From the opinion on which I've been saying that, see, unless we recalibrate Nigeria, let's not stop saying that. That's just the truth, though. The way it is now, you see what you mentioned, all the factors you mentioned in the studio there about humongous level of corruption. Over the years, that has bedeviled us, and it seems like there's no way out now. Honestly, I'm of the opinion, honestly. Let us just say how we are going to stay together, whether we are not praying for that in a violent manner. But if we can sit down peacefully and discuss our future, the now and the future, honestly, because the past has not been working and the future seems Good evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. John. We'll take the last call for the evening, and then we'll call it a day on the show. Hello, good evening. Please turn down the volume of your radio set. You're almost
Hello, good evening, Samson.
Yeah, good evening. Your name and where you calling from?
My name is Abode from Ojo.
Abode from Ojo.
So, anytime I'm hearing about this commentary about this country, I feel bad. Sometimes I feel like to forget, but to forget is very hard. These people, it's right time their thunder will start fire us. They have nothing to offer us. They are just wasting our time. I don't even understand this kind of government we want here. Their own self-interest is too bad. They always save us from them.
All right, go save us. Just one more call. I think we still have enough time to squeeze that in. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, this is Mr. Family.
Okay, where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Kenya.
Okay, please go on, sir.
Yes, my contribution is that we are all in this, and we know that the country is not as we think it is again, and things are getting worse. And we only pray that it shouldn't go beyond what we are expecting, because 2027 is around the corner, but the way the system is going, I don't think if we as citizens will be satisfied as the way the government is running the system. And I would like to advise Nigerian government that as far as China has come in to collect what they are indebted to, they should allow them have it, because they were the ones spending the money. None of the citizens
our presidential jet.
Yes, let them have it, because we are responsible to them.
It belongs to us.
Let them. It doesn't matter. If you know what belongs to you, can you defend it? You can't defend it. You know how many money we have holding these people? The debt is too high now. So if they want to have the new debt, let them have it. It's even better. So everybody should go back to the town and sit down. They shouldn't be using government again.
No,
because the system is getting worse.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sonny, for the government has to exist. But again, before I take your final, we have a problem. There's false scarcity again. I noticed that yesterday. All the entire area, at least where I stay, it was just only one filling station that was selling.
It's all over Lagos.
And now I'm out in it everywhere.
It's just that it's fair.
and I had to desperately buy at 900 naira per liter today.
That is 1,400
this afternoon.
And nobody's telling us anything.
No,
who are we?
This government is on autopilot. That's one. And the second thing is, we must know is that, look, I don't think help is coming from this government to any citizen. Don't forget that the underpinning argument for removing subsidy is that it will make petrol available. And Nigerians can always buy each time they want to buy.
Because again, the argument from a lot of Nigerians is that, look, let us even agree that it's become a taboo to run functional refineries. What's the big deal with importing refined petroleum product again?
So now the big deal is that they are telling you now that even after removing
subsidy, yes,
that the cost of landing the product is so high now that if you even add the subsidy to the current price, it's not.
So why did you remove subsidy in the first place?
That's, you see, and nobody has come out to say, oh, we are sorry, we took a wrong decision that plunge the country into this difficulty and the pains people are going through. Now, as we speak, if you go to any filling station with the jerry can, they say they're not selling it.
They're not selling. Yeah.
But then you ask yourself, where are the people selling black market?
Getting it from? It's a terrible situation. Let's have your final take. I just have to squeeze that in, really.
Well, it's so sad. I mean, that we found ourselves in this position. Only last year we were talking of PIA about them trying to seize government assets, and we have to battle it.
PID, yes.
And this year now is about our jets. You know what that man said when he said they should take the plane? Let's all go and rest.
Because I'm afraid to travel. Oh, they will not be taking people.
Well, I don't think so.
That would be slavery.
I think they will get their money. The Chinese company will get their money.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tᴚɪᴛᴛᴇʀ, for your insightful intake, intelligent intake on the show again. And this evening again, happy birthday to you. Your final take.
My own is this. The price of foods
Still very high.
It's still very high.
Despite the fact that they said inflation figures have dropped, you know.
Those ones are jesters. Because it doesn't come with the reality of what is in the market.
Because again, you know, so that they don't accuse us of just coming up with figures we don't find. These days, I try to go to the market, and I know that in the last 1 month, nothing has changed. The prices have not dropped.
Crate of egg.
It's still 5,000. It's even going to like 6,000 now.
In fact, when I saw Barrister Kosi posting it, is the exact amount that I bought it.
So because when the MBS said the inflation figures have marginally dropped, I was wondering where.
Last week,
a bag of rice is still 80,000 and above.
Yes. I don't like.
All right, thank you, Nuru, for your take on the show this evening. Yes,
small this.
You buy it in larger quantities.
I went to the man that used to grind pepper for us. I said, give me the rick. I was saying, I buy 3 derrick. And I said, 1 derrick is 3,500. I said, just give me 1.
From 3, you dropped it to 1.
Yes, only 1. And when they ground it, it's as if they want
nothing happened.
So those that are saying maybe inflation.
What is going to the wrong shop? When you buy rice for 40,000.
Look, Barrister, someone shared an experience with me in the market yesterday, and what she's saying is that look, these traders are even begging people to buy now and pay later.
Yeah,
food stuff.
No money. Yeah, just
that because people are not coming to buy, they now tell people buy now
but I want
and
to
pay
ask
later.
You on a lighter note,
yes.
Why is it that men are going to the market more now than
they want to increase the money? But I think we need to equally pause and find out who actually Nigeria. Because you cannot be in a country, you cannot be a citizen of a country,
yes, and
the interest of the issue in that country, you don't care about it.
Well,
so some people, their spirit and their mind
is not in this Nigeria. All right, thank you so much, Barrister Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ M소ɪᴟ98.3ꜰᴍ. It's been a wonderful package, political roundtable, mainland 98.3 FM. My name is ᴟᴜᴜ. Let's do this again next week.